Hello, I am going to try and show you how to set up WordPress within cPanel. It should be a simple process, but quirks of various places mean it's things that should happen don't always happen. So, if I just hide myself. So, I'm going to use FileZilla. So these instructions will be specific to FileZilla. You can use other programs, but I use FileZilla. So, as you can see, I've got a number of sites already, but what I need to do is I need to set up another one. So in here, I click New Site, give it a name, so I'm just going to give it the name of the account. And then under host name, that is always group.chef.at.uk. Now I'll just quickly click on the other ones, and you can see on all of them I'm using plain FTP. This is usually insecure, but the way that our university has WordPress sites configured is you can't access them off campus without kind of jumping through a lot of hoops, so they're actually fairly secure despite it using an unencrypted system. So anyway, login information is your normal stuff, so this is where you put the cPanel username and your cPanel password, and then you click connect. And if that's worked, it should connect, and it has done. Okay. So the next thing you need to do is you need to copy WordPress over. Now, here's one I made earlier. You just go to the wordpress.org webpage and you download WordPress. I'm not going to do that because I've already done it. So, I want to copy everything into public_HTML, and to do that I go to my WordPress folder and I copy everything from inside of it. Don't copy the master WordPress folder, so don't go a step back and copy this. The reason for that is you will be adding a layer to your web page, so your web page will be something.group.chef.at.uk/WordPress and then whatever your kind of home page is. So it kind of adds a layer that kind of ruins your web page. So open the WordPress folder, click and drag everything across and tell it to overwrite. So that's all relatively simple. We just sit while that's going. As you can see, everything's going through, everything's worked. You would get some error messages if things had failed. You shouldn't get any error messages though if it's worked. So if I just log out of this cPanel, because this is a different one. If I just copy and paste my username, paste that in. So there are a couple of things that I need to do here. So it doesn't matter which order you do it in, but I'm going to go into File Manager and then the public HTML, because that's where I've put my stuff. You need to change the permission of WP content. Now you need to change it to 0777. Now you can either change that by clicking on the numbers and typing it in, or you can right click, change permissions and make sure everything's ticked. On 755 those two are unticked. And basically if you don't do that, you have issues uploading images to your WordPress site web page through WordPress. It just doesn't let the images show. and other things, but images are where you'll notice the issue. So I've changed that, and now I need to create an SQL database. So what I am going to do here is I'm going to open a Wordpress notepad document, and I'm going to make a note of the information I'm putting in here. So I'm going to call this database, so I know I'm going to call it database because it's the database. You can call these whatever you like. I call them the same things because it makes life easier. It also means I can keep track of the 20 or so of these that I have. I can usually guess my way in. Click next. It'll then ask you to create a user, which is, I'm going to just call it admin for now. And then I'm going to use a password generator to just generate a password. And don't worry, I will go through and change these myself later. So I create the user, all privileges, next step, and then that is done. So all I need to do now is I need to find the WP content, WP config file, and again, as you can see, here's one I've made earlier, and you can see some of the kind of generic information that I've inputted. If I open this now, I tend to open it with Dreamweaver, but Notepad will suffice. So if I get my EG6 BHIN database name, make sure I could put it into database, and that's the reason why, again, you kind of make things clear so you can see when you're making an error. Make sure you're pasting within the quote marks. And then save that file. I'm just going to stick it on the desktop. Close that. Close that. Open that. Find my WP config, and I drop it into the public HTML and click OK. Now, what should happen is I go to the web page that I've registered to, and it will then take you through a standard WordPress installation. Once you get to this stage, it's kind of up to you. You give it your title, you create your admin username, so what you would be logging into, your passwords, etc. And you install WordPress and you follow that through step by step. I'm not going to do that because that's kind of the person who's in charge of this site's job at this point. I'm just helping you get to the WordPress stage. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. My email address is j.lepiors@sheffield.ac.uk. Okay, toodaloo.